decision that will affect the future of your public school students' education is expected in just a few days.
We're talking about the battle of school funding. The state will begin presenting its evidence today in downtown Austin, and that's where we find Daybreak's Tina Shively live outside the Travis County Justice Complex.
Good morning, Brian and Yvonne. Yeah, lawyers for 600 school districts from across the state of Texas rested their case yesterday. Now today, the state will have their turn, and they plan to call only 3 witnesses. This all goes back to a case from 2011. That's when the legislature cut the state's education budget by $5.4 billion. More than 600 school districts then rallied together to fight the change. They claim that the loss of funding, plus the increasing number of students enrolling in school here in Texas every year, were placing too much of a burden on schools, now forced to meet more strict graduation requirements. Last February, Judge John Dietz agreed, ruling the state school finance system was both inadequate and inequitable. So lawmakers decided to restore $3.4 billion of the funding and also cut back on the number of standardized tests required from 15 to 5. Districts returned to court to argue that the changes weren't nearly enough. And on the other side, some argue what the system lacks is choice.
The really important part of this case is that we recognize that we have high standards in Texas. We have not reduced those standards by reducing tests, and that in order to meet those standards, we're going to have additional resources.
Let's look at the public school system itself in Texas. How can we make it excellent? And I think that question goes far beyond money.
Judge Dietz reconvened the case last month to see if the restored money changes his decision, which, keep in mind, was only an oral statement, not a final ruling. So far, one expert testified that school districts need at least $1,000 more per student to meet minimum standards. Another said the money isn't enough to level the playing field for students across the state, saying there's a $1,300 gap in student financing between wealthy districts and ones that are economically disadvantaged. Brian, back to you.
Tina, what does the state have to say about all of this?
Well, Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott's office maintains that the system is constitutional, and they'll have now 3 days to prove that point. Closing arguments are expected in this case on Friday.
Okay, Tina, thanks a lot. Tina Shively live for us this morning.